nation without two important ministers. It has been months since the tragic helicopter crash took our ministers for defense and environment. Those vital ministries remain without substantive leadership. We demand forthwith that Mr. President nominate these ministers to mount these ministries.
Minority Leader, you may continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll take it again. Our farmers have always carried Ghana on their shoulders with respect to food security in the country. Unfortunately, in 2025, farmers were faced with lack of agricultural inputs.
Out of Western Association, Afenyo Markins akekano ho. Afenyo Markins is back. Now this time round, the NDC is incompetent in terms of fighting Galamsey. Yebeti nkomono de abetu no question mampeni Mahama ni the NDC. Say adentina ye de adwuma mienu ama finance minister no. Ankoye finance minister adentina zesia no omasa ama na adwuma fofora because so onya time nti amanfo ko recruitment kra no ebi mu afaso ewu. In fact, Afenyo Markins ababebo na adwen o parliament when the all calling on the NDC say cocoa farmers reported say ani omusika was yemfa mom ye eden na ekọ Afenyo Markins the can message no ho the by the all kasafa hospital requirements even kra no besan krati say some of the nurses omusika was yemfa mom senior health minister promise ye no omunsanka omusika ye na Afenyo Markins and the revival battle wababe kasa and some of the ababetu jano enye is without magile me pese me kasa pi me pese beti nkomo no Afenyo Markins ba na waba no energy ode ba no me pese beti nkomo no na ma mi hu so adwen che comment ni mu utie no na ensem bi wo mo kan wo ne nya adwen a feel free so be che wadwen e wo ye comment ni mu.
Model maturity, eschewing hasty suspensions that invite chaos. In restraint lies our strength, in haste our humiliation. Outside this chamber, the story is harsher. A nation without two important ministers. It has been months since the tragic helicopter crash took our ministers for defense and environment. Those vital ministries remain without substantive leadership. We demand forthwith that Mr. President nominate these ministers to mount these ministries. It is not enough to have the Minister of Finance with a huge responsibility also taking up the Ministry of Defense. Mr. Speaker, on jobs, last November, 6 young women died in a stampede at Elwak Sports Stadium during recruitment. When a country turns a recruitment gate into graveyard, it is a government that has failed our youth. On food, farmers complain of losses while families struggle with high prices. When food rots in villages, while children sleep hungry in towns, the problem is policy and logistics. Meanwhile, government says that inflation has come down. Our farmers have always carried Ghana on their shoulders with respect to food security in the country. Unfortunately, 2025, farmers were faced with lack of agricultural inputs. Fertilizers, certified seeds, and agricultural machinery distributed to farmers were woefully
Honorable Minority Leader, I'm sorry. I have to move to another meeting.
Sure.
So the first Deputy Speaker will take the chair.
Minority Leader, you may continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll take it again. Our farmers have always carried Ghana on their shoulders with respect to food security in the country. Unfortunately, in 2025, farmers were faced with lack of agricultural inputs, fertilizers, certified seeds, and agricultural machinery distributed to farmers were woefully inadequate. The food glut challenge we witnessed in 2025 must also be properly addressed. Mr. Speaker, we expect the government to ensure that adequate warehouses are provided and that all warehouses that were started by the previous administration must be completed in good time. Mr. Speaker, again, our cocoa farmers are crying for payment. We hereby urge the Ministry of Agric and the Ministry of Finance to take steps to ensure that our hard-working cocoa farmers are paid for all supplies that they make to Cocoa Board. Mr. Speaker, in our country today, gold has turned to ghost. The hardship is not accident. It is the consequence of choices, including those that threaten our collective wealth as a nation. During the recess, not one but two distinct gold scandals rocked the very foundations of our economy, revealing a pattern of staggering incompetence and catastrophic failure. First, Mr. Speaker, we confronted the missing millions. The IMF published a report and flagged 240 million losses through the third quarter 2025 from Gold for Reserves program. These were not hypothetical risks. These were realized losses, lost to trading shortfalls and questionable fees. This sum is not an abstraction. It is classrooms never built, hospital equipment never procured, farm input never graded. It is the future of our nation sacrificed on the altar of opaque and reckless financial engineering. But this situation did not end with the missing money. It escalated to vanishing gold itself. Official Bank of Ghana data confirms a collapse to so severe that it defies belief. Our gold reserves, which stood at 37.1 tons in September 2025, plunged by nearly 50% to near 18.6 tons by December. In just 3 months, we witnessed the utter evaporation of prior gains, financial phantom event that has left our national balance sheet dangerously exposed. The connection between these two catastrophes is not incidental. It is a causal and it speaks to profound moral failure. On one hand, this government has proven utterly incompetent in combating the scourge of illegal mining. Galamsey prevention and the fight against Galamsey has been abandoned. It has allowed Galamsey to flourish unchecked, devastating our forests, poisoning our rivers, and destroying the livelihood of our farmers. And for what purpose? The evidence suggests a desperate, cynical strategy to source gold from these very destructive channels in a frantic bid to prop up Ghana cedi through these reserve programs. Mr. Speaker, we the minority state without equivocation that this is a policy of national self-sabotage. I repeat, the gold reserve policy that government has introduced, to the extent that government is not taking steps to ensure full enforcement of anti-Galamsey operations, we say for the record that it's a policy of national self-sabotage. We are monetizing the destruction of our environment and the theft of our future to feed failing financial scheme. And as the data now proves, that scheme itself has backfired catastrophically. The gold bought at such great costs to our environment has seemingly vanished, and the money allocated to secure it has evaporated. When gold is turned to ghosts, the ghost that haunts the poor is hunger. When reserves disappear in millions and they vanish, and we are told that they are rather diversifying, the trust of the people dissolves into dust. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, this House has a solemn and non-negotiable duty. We must insist on full, transparent, and immediate accounting. And we thank Mr. Speaker for admitting the motion by the minority to get into this matter. We must demand answers to the questions the nation is asking. Who designed this flawed program? Who authorized the pricing and the fee structure that led to such losses? Who profited from these transactions? And ultimately, who bears responsibility for this double disaster of missing millions and vanishing gold? But as minority, we have some solutions for government. If indeed government believes that this is a policy worth considering, then it must provide for the cost of enforcing this policy, and this must come to Parliament for the people's representatives to interrogate it. If Parliament does not have the courage to follow the gold, to trace every transaction, to demand every document, then we would have lost far more than the money. We would have surrendered our moral compass and betrayed the sacred trust placed in us by the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, as we are at management in the country and at home, the world changes without us. The United States announced an indefinite pause in immigrant visa processing for Ghanaians. The message is unmistakable. Ghana has slipped from trusted partner to flag concern. Our foreign ministries, our foreign policy, the inconsistency there too, the adversarial posture has replaced professional diplomacy with domestic theater. When our foreign ministry treats international partners as props for local politics, ordinary Ghanaians become collateral damage. The ultimate answer is not simply to lobby foreign embassies. It is to build Ghana worth staying in. A serious nation does not treat its people as exports. Mr. Speaker, reports show a worrying spike in assault on journalists. A state that cannot protect the pen will soon find it cannot protect the ballot box. Attacks make headlines, then files gather dust while impunity gains confidence. Violence against journalists is an attack on Parliament itself, because it is the media that carries our debate to the people we represent. Mr. Speaker, the minority in this meeting shall pursue vigorous accountability, and this is what we are going to do. Accountability will not just be a slogan, it is going to be our schedule. The minority would formally move for targeted parliamentary inquiries on the following: 1, the helicopter disaster; 2, the Elwak tragedy; 3, the gold reserve losses; 4, the violence against journalists; 5, the abuse associated with bail conditions by certain investigative agencies of state; the US visa ban; and not the least, the unlawful dismissal of Ghanaian youth. We will not accept indefinite delay. Accountability without a calendar is merely public relations. Mr. Speaker, Ghanaian people are tired of speeches and rhetorics of the ruling government. They want their living standard to improve. They are concerned about utility prices. Electricity tariffs have shot up by 27% under this government. To my colleagues in majority, the minority will be firm, but we are ready to be fair. Opposition is not to sabotage. We will demand quality in terms of governance. And to my colleagues in the minority, our strength is in the seriousness we bring to debate. Nations are not rescued by miracles. They are rescued by choices. The choices we make in this meeting will echo in the homes of the jobless, in the heart of the grieving, and in the verdict of history. Let us rise to the occasion and let us demonstrate that we are formidable and that we are not just opposing, but we offer solutions. Mr. Speaker, let me on this note thank colleagues and welcome them back to this chamber and wish all of us a successful deliberation. Thank you so much.